UFC 140 this past weekend in Argentina for the first time. Santiago Ponzinibbio fighting on his home turf for the first time, main eventing against Neil Magny. Two top 10 guys. Santiago Ponzinibbio, I believe he's somewhere, I think he's top 10. Neil Magny, I believe, was just ahead of him at number 8. Ponzinibbio looks sharp, man. Ponzinibbio looks sharp. When people saw this fight, the leg kick is the thing that stood out, and it was a huge factor in this fight. The fight within the fight, in my mind, the fight that I was watching was footwork. The entire fight, Neil Magny was trying to find that opening, fight, going left, going right, trying to get off of the cage. Ponzinibbio did a tremendous job of keeping them backed up against the cage. They were battling like this throughout. The thing that made this fight so interesting was watching these guys go back and forth with the footwork, the jab of Ponzinibbio, and obviously the leg kick. But again, the thing that was interesting aside from those things was watching Neil Magny tough out this fight. This was a fight, man, that as a fighter, I know when you see a leg kick and you know that it hurt the guy. You could tell when the pressure is on somebody, kind of that invisible pressure. I felt for Neil Magny in this fight, man. I could see right away the first power jab that Ponzinibbio landed hurt Neil Magny's eye. And so he's dealing with an eye issue. From there, he's just trying to evade and get away and let his eye kind of heal up, find some space. Ponzinibbio stayed on him. Ponzinibbio pushed him beyond that black line, putting Neil Magny's back against the cage where he was less effective, less mobile against the cage. That's what opened up the leg kick. He landed that first hard leg kick, shin on the quad, landed hard, wasn't that loud. It was the thud that always hurts more than the loud sound. And I knew as soon as I saw that kick, I thought, man, that's going to be problematic moving forward if he continues to land in that exact same spot, which he did. The jab was continuous. The leg kick started to mount up on Neil Magny. He was searching and searching to get off of the cage, but Santiago Ponzinibbio did the best I've ever seen him fight. I've got to say, this was his sharpest fight I've ever seen. Maybe it was the nerves or the energy of fighting at home. He wanted to look sharp. Maybe it was, don't forget, Santiago Ponzinibbio had almost a year off. His last fight was against Mike Perry, and that was sometime late last year. That was maybe December of last year. So it's been nearly a year. I don't know if it was due to injuries. I really don't know the whole backstory. But in my mind, he shows a lot of improvement. In this time that he had off, whatever he was dealing with, he was improving. And his mental aspect of the game, the focus that he brings, piled with the energy of fighting at home, this was the best Ponzinibbio that we've seen. And it makes me think that he is making a stand to call out the champion Tyron Woodley. I think he needs probably another fight or so in there, but after this performance, fighting at home, it gives you credibility. When you main event a card, it gives you credibility in the UFC's eyes. When you can main event a card at home and you have the backing of that and you have put on a spectacular performance that he did, it really bumps up your credibility in terms of throwing you in a main event slot if someone was to get injured or whatever. But I don't want to take away Ponzinibbio's performance stole the show. I don't want to take away from Neil Magny's performance. We've already known that Neil Magny is just tough everywhere. A good guy, a good fighter, a good guy as well, but good everywhere. He doesn't really have any weaknesses. If it's striking, his wrestling, his jiu-jitsu, his cardio is on point. He's a long, rangy guy. He's like 6'3", 6'4". He's got a height, got a reach advantage. He presses forward. His amount of strikes that he throws per minute is very high. He's a tough guy to deal with. But we got to see a little more of his heart in this fight. People were paying attention to Ponzinibbio's technique, which was beautifully done. But I was watching, like I said, when I saw the first leg kick land, when I saw the first jab close up Neil Magny's eye, then he's dealing with the game of getting on the outside. He was playing a game back and forth with Ponzinibbio. I don't know if you recognize this, but he was circling into the leg kick. So he's moving in a direction that the leg kick is coming from Ponzinibbio. And I mean, you can see here in this picture, he was in pain. I mean, this one's not even, this one, and this exact exchange, Neil Magny probably won this exchange, because I always tell people, when the lower shin or the foot hits the knee's harder than the shin. The middle part of the shin against the quad, the shin wins. So in this exchange, this one probably hurt Ponzinibbio a little bit more than it did Magny, but you can see he's still in pain. And they started to add up. It started to add up throughout the course of the fight. But what started happening was Magny was circling into the kicks, and that's what was making him so painful. When he started circling out to get away from the punches, he had to change his stances. Magny started changing to southpaw to take away that open leg kick for Ponzinibbio because he was trying to protect that leg. And that was a little bit of the battle that I was watching, was Magny trying to circle off the cage, Ponzinibbio doing a great job at cutting off the ring, not following. He would cut off the cage and keep him against it. And whenever Magny would move to his left, setting up Ponzinibbio's leg kick, Magny would then have to switch to southpaw, protect the back leg. And that was a little battle going back and forth, back and forth. The thing with those type of battles is they could buy you time for a little while, but it's inevitable. When somebody's got you hurt and they're stalking you, they're eventually going to get the kill. And it took, I think it was 4 rounds for Ponzinibbio to get that finish, but he ended up getting it. But credit to the very tough, very durable, very smart Magny, because a lot of guys without a leg, without an eye that was kind of injured throughout the fight, and it seemed to be going downhill the rest of the fight, he would come back in the beginning of the round, take the center of the octagon, and try to stand there. Ponzinibbio was just spectacular at pushing him back against the cage and pressing him to fight his fight, not to fight Magny's fight. He wanted his Magny against the cage, and he did a great job of that. So credit to both guys. Very entertaining welterweight fight. As a fellow welterweight in UFC, I can watch guys like this and kind of push the emotions of possibly fighting these guys aside and just appreciate a great fight by both men in this one. So hope you enjoyed, guys.